Hey everyone, welcome to the final video I'll be making for my tutorials on Blender. I'll actually be making one more video. I'm just going to do some quick modeling with all the various things that I showed, but this is the final one where I'll actually talk about specific Blender functionality. So the last panel, I already set up a yellow monkey here with some lighting. So the last panel is this render panel. If you want to render an image, you hit F12, or you can simply press this button. There's a layers panel here. I never touch it. A lot of this stuff is new, and I'm not sure what it does, and I don't. You can look it up if you want, but I just don't touch it. I don't mess with something if it's working. There's a freestyle panel here, and it does some kind of crazy outline stuff. It's very specific, and if you want to look it up, you can. I messed with it for a while to see if I could use it to do some stuff in import some stuff into Adobe Illustrator, but it didn't work out. Here's your dimensions panel. You can choose the resolution. There's presets as well, and they'll change the size for you automatically here. You can say, 100%. You can go down to whatever percentage you like. One of the reasons that comes in handy is if you're modeling, you want to have a quick look at something that you did, but you don't want to take the time, especially on slower computers, to wait for a full render. Then you can just quickly cut it down, have a quick look at what you want. This frame range is for animation, so you can leave it alone. I didn't talk much about that. The next thing we have is anti-aliasing. So let me go back to dimensions and make sure I'm at 100% here. Now watch what happens when I shut it off. You can see that it's a little more jagged, not quite as clean, especially here and around the edges. If I turn it back on, whoops. It's much more clean. You can set the sample levels to as high as you like. I always leave this on. I always leave it at 16. You can choose from different algorithms, but I haven't seen much of a difference between them. Motion blur is kind of cool. I haven't used it in a while, and it's been done with animation, but it makes some of the frames, some of the animation in the frames blur. I won't talk much about it because I didn't touch animation. I never touch shading. I never touch performance. Post-processing I don't generally touch. One of the things I sometimes touch is the edge. If you do a render, it puts a slight edge around your put edges around your model, and then it determines where to put more edges. If you're using the comic style material, so if you go to materials, you have this Lambert, and you have Toon, they call it. I know I didn't touch much on it because it's very specific about the settings are really specific to get it to look good. As you can see, that looks terrible. Just go back to Lambert. Would that look a little more cartoony? So that looks a little more cartoony. So the combination of that that material with the border outline can give you a sort of a cartoony look. If you're interested in that, there's lots of tutorials about it. So I'll shut that off. Stamp. I have no idea. And then you have output. You can determine where you want to, with the default directory to save, I believe that says animations only. So you can choose the output type. I usually choose ping. I turn on RGBA so that if there is no world in the background, if I were to get rid of this world, click X so there was none. When I do a render, if I save that, this will be saved as transparent, which is what you want, or it's usually what I want most of the time. I leave compression as is. So once you have the image, you can just save it, save a copy, save as image. Both of them you can get to with F3. It's called Untitled Ping. Put it wherever you want. There's a bookmark section here which has come in handy. I hadn't seen it in a while. So we have recent, and then we have bookmarks. And I started using it to basically point to the folder where I do all my graphics, which I find quite handy. So I'll just escape out of there. Like I said, you can use F3 to do the same thing. And that's about it for rendering. There's not a lot. There's not a lot to do, and most of the stuff is, the defaults are pretty good. Maybe raise the anti-aliasing a little bit, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So that's the end of this video. I'm going to make one more video where I do some quick modeling based, using some of the things I taught in my videos. But that's the end of the series. If you like what you saw, please comment, and vote. If I get enough good feedback, then I'll start making more videos. Okay, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.